are live.
Okay.
Okay. Hi guys,
That's
Linda
perfect.
Reed-Enever. Welcome to our webinar today with Theobald. Have I got that right, Theobald? Your name, sorry, Theobald, is that right?
My name, oh, it's
Yep,
Thibaut.
Thibaut. So
Yeah.
there we go. I'm going to get it right now, guys. I need more coffee, but it's my birthday and you'll all forgive me. Okay, welcome to Thibaut on coming to talk to us about Loomly and social media planning. Now, guys, whether you look at using Loomly as a tool at the end of today or not, the key about social media, as you will know and hear from me consistently, is about planning. There is a cool story behind this tool. And I'm going to let Theobald tell you about what it is so that you can know he developed the tool for his now wife when she was managing social media clients. So give us a bit of a background.
Yeah, thank you very much for having us first. We are glad
Yep.
to be here today and share a couple of tips and introduce you to Loomly. So yeah, that's very correct. I actually built this platform for my spouse because we were working as an agency and we were managing accounts for L'Oreal, the cosmetic company, and we were having this kind of under-optimized process where we were sending them every month some editorial calendars, including their posts, what we were going to post on their Facebook page, Twitter account, Instagram account, what time, what image, what copy, etc. And that was pretty painful because it had to go through email and have, like 10 versions of the file and making the whole approval process pretty complicated. And so I just told Noemi, who is my wife and my business partner, we've been working together for 7 years, I can probably hack together something for you and make the process easier. And so that's basically how Loomly started. And flash forward to today, we now have 20,000 users. It's growing pretty fast, and we keep on collecting feedback from our users every day to make the platform better and build exactly what you guys need. So that has been a very iterative process.
Fantastic. Guys, look, we are new in the Zoom platform today. So if you've got any questions, there should be a little chat box down the bottom of your screen. Please ask any questions as you go along. We will try and keep them running and have the conversation. Can I just get a show of hands of how many of our members are currently planning their social media so that we know that one for you? If you can pop that into the chat box and just say hi, make sure we can actually hear you all. Oh, yay, we're getting raised hands. I love Zoom. I think I'm just going to be really, really excited. So I've got some raised hands that people are already planning their social media. That is really huge, guys. I really am particular about making sure that we do get everything going forward here. So thank you very much for joining us today. I'm going to let the presentation begin so that we can have a bit of a chat. The exciting news is we're not currently streaming this one live to Facebook, but Joe and I are going to play next week, and then hopefully we'll be streaming live to Facebook with our webinars as well. So it's all a bit exciting here in the technology world, but with it being our first one on Zoom, I thought we'd keep it pretty standard and simple today.
Okay, fantastic.
Beautiful.
Linda, just let me know, because I'm not even sure I can see the questions and answers when I'm in full screen mode.
I will let you know if there's a question.
Yeah.
Yep.
Fantastic.
Not a problem.
Okay, so just to introduce our topic, we kind of built Loomly as a tool that is meant to be social media manager's best friend. And when we say that, we don't mean to exclude people whose job title is not social media manager. We built it for professionals and people who do it as part of their job also, and people who want to build a brand even on the side. And our idea, our vision is to basically empower everyone to stand out on social media. So we want to help the pros, and we want to help the one who are not pros to be as good as the pros.
Yep.
In our mission, the way we want to do it is make social media expertise and services available to everyone. So basically, what we've been able to observe as an agency when we were working, on the field as an agency, as consultants, is that there is kind of a social media catch-22. And that social media catch-22 is basically that you cannot really afford to not be on social media today, because, you need to get there for awareness, for traffic, for sales, for reputation. But at the same time, that means that everybody is getting on social media. For instance, just to give you a stat for us back in the US, 80% of small businesses are on social media in the US. And that means that there is a lot of noise on social media. again, just to give you a stat, there are about 500 million tweets sent every day, which is a lot of noise. And for your signal to kind of stand out in that noise, that is kind of a challenge. And so
Yep.
we think, and that's what you started already saying, you know, Linda, the key to success in publishing good content is publishing good content.
Yep.
And good content, what is it? Again, based on our expertise and our experience and what we've seen over the years, it's basically content that is published frequently, but like not too frequently. You don't want to, like, you know, overload your followers or your fans with like 10 posts a day about your products. So frequency is key, and not over frequency. So you want to find a good frequency.
We always talk about educating your market in the business group. So it's education first, selling second.
Exactly. That's exactly it. And that's actually the next point is you also want to have your content to be relevant. You want your content to talk to your audience. You want to provide information and value to them,
Yes.
and not just, you know, provide like just general content that will fit for everybody, because that's not how it works.
No.
And the last thing is you want your content to be consistent. And by that, what we mean is you don't want to publish the same post every day, of course. But what you want to do is you don't want to say something one day and then say the opposite the next day. You want to build your brand, tell a story, and you know, just like the impressionist painters who used to, you know, like have small touches of paints and you were not sure what they was saying, but at the end when you were looking at a painting, that was drawing a very nice image. That's exactly the same thing you want to do. You want to build your brand a little bit every day, and have a consistent image of your brand and tell a consistent story. And the whole problem with that is building great content is of course amazing, but it's also quite a challenge, kind of worm, because it's time consuming. It's very complex. It's also expensive because of those two things.
Yep.
And last but not least, it's never ending, because the minute that you stop publishing, unfortunately on social media in these days, you kind of stop being visible. So that's kind of the whole challenge with social media, and that's the whole tension that we're trying to solve. How can you be on social media because you have to be there, while being successful without the whole, you know, the means of like super large companies and so that's
and without
basically
killing yourself either, guys. You know, this is why we talk about using the tools that are available to you, and this is another one of the tools that you can use within your social media toolkit.
Exactly, and that's exactly what we're trying to do, and why we built it. And basically what we're trying to do is put our expertise as consultants, as an agency, into a tool that will be affordable not only for other agencies but also for people who cannot afford an agency. So that's the whole point of Lumely. And so to solve this catch-22, this is what we used to do as an agency. If you work with an agency with professionals, you hire their services, roughly what they will do is they will help you work with this process. You will have some source material that you will be using, and the key will be to choose what kind of material you want to share. Do you want to talk about your product or sales or events? Do you have like a content pool with images for your brands? Are you using stock photos? And so on and so forth. And so it's there are a lot of things that you can use, but selecting the right one is quite important. So that's the first part. Once you know what you're going to publish, then you need to know how you're going to publish it. Because there are like tons of ways to share a product image, for instance. And so you will have to decide on which channels you're going to publish, at which date and time, what will be the format of your post. Would it be like, you know, a link, an image, a video, a carousel, a story, you know, all the crazy stuff going on these days. Will you include the copy? Will you include the hashtag? Again, tons of stuff. So how you're going to publish this content. And then once you come up with this piece of content that can be in the form of an Excel file, or they can be in the form of a mockup, as we'll see later with Lumely, you kind of need to get it approved by you know, the person in charge of the brand. So if you're a small business owner, you are the person in charge, and you may have an agency suggesting you some content, or you can be building the content yourself, and then this way you can kind of bypass this approval step.
Even though teams consulting, so quite often we've got business owners in our group that particularly that have a VA working with them on this sort of stuff. So being able to just even get people to be able to contribute and outsource, guys, I keep talking about the outsourcing, give the tasks away that you're not good at. But then you've still got final control, because I know as a business owner, I'm a control freak. I like to see everything before it goes out. And being able to get someone to do the legwork and then give me the rest of the information is amazing.
Exactly. And so the whole idea behind Loomly is to say, hey, if you have someone who's helping you prepare the content, it's basically all you have to do is just say yes or no. I'm okay. I want this content to go live, or I don't want it to go live. I need you to update it, or to change the copy, or to change the image. So that's the whole philosophy behind Loomly. And then so once you give it a go, you can schedule the content. And then you will have the reporting phase. And so usually in the human workflow, in the professional's workflow, when you're not using a tool, that will be, you will have a person going to each individual social network, or going to a reporting tool, pulling the data, putting together a reporting for you, sending it to you, with the goal of saying, okay, so we know what worked and what didn't work last month. So now we're going to use this data to select what we're going to publish next month and how we're going to publish it again. Yep. So it's like a continuous improvement loop, and that's basically the whole process. And the idea behind Loomly is just to help you with this process and make it like super smooth and save you a lot of time when you do it. So to give you an idea, this is, I don't know if you see that on my screen, or if it's just me.
Yep.
Okay.
I'm
okay. So how Loomly works is basically we will provide you some built-in calendar templates, so that you don't have to rebuild your template every month in your Excel file. We will provide you some content ideas for inspiration, so that you never have to face the writer's block anymore. And like you are in front of your computer, and you need to come up with like 20 ideas for next month. Like, how do you do it? Exactly. We'll give you a hand with that. Then you have this whole approval workflow, which is useful when you're a team, because you can, as we said, have the go of someone. But it's also very useful when you are working on your own, because Loomly is one of the only tools on the market that actually provides you a mock-up showing you exactly what your post is going to look like. So it's kind of an internal validation. It's for you. It's like a sandbox. You can, play with it before you go live, and you are always sure of how it's going to look like.
Good chance to double check everything.
Exactly. Because, sometimes you just make a typo, and that happens. So this way
it happens.
Exactly. And last but not least, you'll have the scheduling feature that will just, publish everything. And we also have analytics. So as you can see at the bottom of the page, the whole goal here is to make the job of the person who is creating social media content much easier. And actually to make it even easier to outsource it to someone else. So from here, I suggest we can maybe, jump on the tool.
Yep,
and
definitely.
I can give you like a quick tour of how it works.
Has anyone got any questions so far? Please pop them into chat. If you do, we'll answer them along the way. But yeah, it's a good opportunity. Now, Loomly's just been updated, so it's got brand new features in it from when I used it last, which is pretty cool. I got in and had a little bit of a play yesterday. But it's great for you to be able to see where we go from here. So let's see if we can get in there and see the tool in action.
Sure, and that's funny you mentioned that there are updates, because we actually update the tool very frequently. Just so you know, so here in the US on California time, it's almost the end of the day. So we just published a new feature that will only be announced tomorrow. So you
we get to do it first.
And it's a pretty cool feature. It's actually a feature, and I will show you when we create a post, that allows you to upload a GIF file and publish it to Facebook and Instagram that actually do not allow you to do that. So what we do is we automatically convert it to MP4 for you, so that you can actually publish a GIF. So that's a brand new feature we just launched. Yeah. So I'll just go to my calendar, but to give you an idea, this is the dashboard that you arrive on when you connect.
I think your screen has frozen on that and on us. Give us 2 seconds.
Sharing is paused, they say.
There we go. Let's see if we can get it back. Okay, I'm just going to stop. If I go to it, there we go. Hang on, sharing my screen. Bear with me. Let's see if we can give you the screen sharing back now. Try taking the screen sharing back off me now. You should be able to, hopefully.
I can, yeah, continue. Okay, okay, yep.
See if you can take it back. There we go. See, sometimes you just got to turn it on and off.
Yep, that happens. So yeah, so I'll just start again from the top. Basically, this is the dashboard that you arrive on when you connect to Loomly. You'll have some get starting information. This is my actual dashboard. This is what I use every day.
Perfect. Awesome.
Where you have your calendar. So basically, if you manage multiple brands, you will probably have one calendar for each brand, which allows you to segment your content and also decide who can access what in your team if you have several persons working on different calendars and you don't want all of them to access all of your content.
Cool.
And then I will get back to the rest of the dashboard a bit later because it will make much more sense once we've created a couple of posts.
Great.
So you just enter your calendar and you can imagine a calendar as being an Excel file. It's really replacing an Excel file that you would have and that you would use to plan your content. So, and actually you can see the look and feel is actually like an Excel file. It's a table.
Yep, perfect.
And it's very simple. You will have the date, you will have the subject of your post, the channels that you are going to publish to, the format. Is it like a multiple image post? Is it an image? Is it a link? The classic formats that you have on social media. You will have the copy, which is basically the message of your post. And if you have different copies for Twitter and Instagram and Pinterest,
perfect.
You will also have the variation in there.
How cool is that?
Yeah, you will have the image of the post. And then this is where it gets super interesting. You will have all the collaboration features where you can see the status of a post. So this one is passed because it hasn't been published on time. This one has been published, so you can see it here. And you can have all sorts of statuses like draft or pending approval or approved with an entire workflow to help you move from a draft to a published post.
Fantastic.
You will also have all your team members in there, and you can assign a post to a person because you need them to either like create a post or update the copy or update the image or approve it or schedule it, whatever the action is. You will have some different actions that you can do, like edit the post and duplicate it. If you already created a post that you like and you want to publish it again, this is what you want to do. You just duplicate it and then you don't have to start again from scratch. You can just publish it again automatically. You can also comment, and you can also have a full history of everything that happened on the post, like who created it, who updated it, who approved it, etc. But we'll get back to that.
Fantastic.
You can also, so that is what we call the list view because it just looks like a list. But you also have a calendar view. And the calendar view allows you to have a more strategic view of your content. So you will see where you have posts, where you have holes, how you can structure your content. And this is where the planning phase is very important. You mentioned it earlier. Planning is kind of key here. So looking at this view will allow you to, have some content spread across the months and not everything gathered together. And like, for instance, we like to publish 2 to 3 times a week. So you'll see we have 2 posts here, 3 posts there, etc., etc. And then of course, from each and every of these posts, you can actually, from each of these posts in there, you can click and actually go to the post itself and it will generate a mockup for you. So this is a post that is called Hump Day, which is a hashtag for the middle of the week for Wednesday. And so you will see what it looks like on Facebook with a mockup generated for you, what it will look like on Twitter, which is a bit different with a different format for the image and everything. Everything is automatically resized for you. How it looks like on Instagram and Google+. At the moment, Loomly supports Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Pinterest, Google+, and LinkedIn.
Fantastic.
And then we go back to the whole collaboration process where you can have the state of the post. You can assign people, and you can see here that your post has been successfully published. You can access it on each platform with this link. It's very easy. And you also have the whole commenting section, allowing you to collaborate with your teammates.
See, I love those features about Loomly when I'm working with teams and clients, that opportunity where we're not managing it all the time. And when we're managing, because we used to manage in this office 29 different social media calendars for different clients. Yeah, no, crazy. This is why I teach people how to do it themselves now.
No, I can understand.
I got my life back. But it was one of the features that really, really worked for us, because we were able to show it and the clients were able to edit it and move it to queues. So the fact that we could all get hands-on in on the one document was amazing.
Exactly. That's exactly what we had in mind when we built it. So I would say that is the planning, and that is the collaboration part. But there is another part. If you remember, when we started this webinar, we just said, hey, we want to help you make the content creation process easier. So this is where I would say the best part of the app is happening. It's when you create a new post. So it's this green button that you have here on pretty much every page. And so we have kind of chunked the process into 5 steps. So the first step is kind of defining the details of your post. So we give you some post ideas. We'll tell you, okay, this is a Twitter trend. This is what is trending now in the US. So this is for us, but when you connect your Twitter account, you can define where you want Twitter trends to be pulled from. So for you, for instance, Australia, you can just say, I want Australia, or I want Sydney or Melbourne or Canberra, or whatever you want. This is very accurate.
Fantastic.
And so you will have some Twitter trends pulled for you and suggested as post ideas, so that you can ride the wave of the conversation that is already going on Twitter.
Awesome.
That's one thing. Another thing that we do is we allow you to connect some RSS feeds to your calendar. So for instance, if you have a blog and you want your content to be pulled into Loomly, that is possible. If you use Google Alerts to monitor your brand online and you want to, for instance, share an article when someone is talking about you can also do it. So that and everything will appear in here in the post ID section. But we also give you some more, I would say, some other types of ideas, like what we call Loomly inspiration. So it's basically something that is kind of evergreen that you can use all the time. So it could be a hashtag that you can use. It could be, so now it says Man Crush Monday and Happy Monday, because in my time zone it's still Monday. But if I go to tomorrow, which is Tuesday for you guys, then you will have Tuesday trivia and Trendy Tuesday, music of the day, which is exactly what an agency or a consultant or a freelancer would do for you, because they know all these tricks. And so they know
bank.
Exactly. So instead of paying someone to do it for you, because if you can't afford it, you can do it here. And it's exactly these kind of ideas that the consultant would give you or would build for you. So you have them in there. And we also give you what we call the Loomly ideas, which are actual ideas based on the dates so you can see that they change. So it's the green label. You can see that they change when you change the date. And it will be things like World Pasta Day, or it will be, the Fashion Week or Mother's Day, or these kind of things that again, you can use to leverage what people are already talking about, because if it's a big event, people will be talking about it. So that's kind of, the first part of the application to help you, from the start with the idea. Those are
really good opportunities to, when you're stuck for content, because we do all get stuck for content. We get stuck for, what the heck are we going to say today? So it's a good opportunity for being able to get out there. And sometimes you don't need to, if not everything has to be about your business. Remember that some things about social media are actually just general conversation pieces.
Exactly. That's correct. And we get back to what we were saying. Your content has to be frequent, relevant, and consistent. That's what you want to do.
Riley just asked, are they relevant to Australia as well? Are the World Pasta Day in those days relevant to Australia as well?
So at the moment, we are, this is like the early days. So at the moment, these are, I would say, world events. but we are working on two things. So that was an excellent question, actually. So thank you very much.
Thanks,
We are
Riley.
working on two kind of additional post IDs packages that will be localized. So for your area, that will make more sense. For instance, in Canada, in Canada and in the US, for instance, Thanksgiving is not the same day.
No.
Or in the US and in Europe, where I'm from, Mother's Day is not even the same day. So we are working on this to offer more, I would say,
Fantastic.
localized post IDs. And the second thing we're working on is we are working on packages of IDs that will be available per verticals. Because we know that, for instance, if you are working in the beauty industry, you may not have the same needs as if you are working in the sport industry or the music industry.
Fantastic.
So we are working on it. So it's not there yet, but it's coming.
Yay! You'll have to let us know when it's there. Pop into the group and let the guys know.
Yeah, no, we'll be happy to do it. Everything is announced on our blog and over email. So if you sign up even for the trial and you start using the app, you will be updated when we have some cool, exciting stuff coming up.
Yeah, guys, we've got a cool trial for you today too. This is bonus.
Yeah. And so when you select a post ID, so for instance, let's say the Loomly, ID World Past a Day, then it will just pre-populate your subject, and this will help you identify this post throughout the app. It will never, this part of the subject will never get published on your social networks, just for internal reference. And then you can also use some labels. So Toolkit is the name of our blog. So this is a label we use when we publish an article from our blog, but you can create any label that you like. So for instance, I don't know, let's say this is a post ID. So I'll just say, this is about a post ID. It will be red. I create my label and I select it. Sorry, I select it here. And then here we go. Awesome. I will have this label tagging my post again for internal reference so that I can, always know what kind of category it is. So that's the first step. You just set the post details and then you click next. Then you can select your different social networks, which basically helps you decide where you want to publish your post, and then you click next. Sorry, continue. Okay, and then we arrive in another part that is interesting and kind of sets Lumely apart versus the competition. And it's also based on an insight that we had as an agency. When we were creating content for different brands and different social networks, what we observed was that the foundation of the post was usually the same for Facebook and Twitter and Instagram.
Very much so. But
then we would be customizing it for each channel. So what we decided was to kind of, mimic this workflow in Loomly. And so when you create a post, you define what we call the generic content that will be the foundation for your post for all channels. And then in the next step, we're going to customize it for each channel.
Yep.
So let's say I'll just say this is a demo post for business. Sorry. Business.
Yay.
Okay. And then I can upload an image. So I'll just go to my desktop. But I can also upload multiple images for Facebook and Twitter and Instagram. I can upload GIF files. I can upload videos, as you can see here. We are trying to cover as many formats as we can. The only thing we're not currently doing are Facebook carousels and slideshows. Yep. It's not that we don't want, it's that at the moment of this webinar, these formats are not available through the API. So as soon as they will be available, we will be happy to implement them.
Awesome.
We also have a short URL shortener. So let's say, I don't know, if I just take the Lumely link, well, it doesn't make much sense to shorten this link that is already pretty short, but just so you can see. So we have our own URL shortener that shortens link into loom.ly, which is kind of our name. And then you click next, and this is where we are doing some cool stuff. So you have the Facebook preview and you can see exactly what your post is going to look like as you are editing it. Here you have just an alert telling you that unfortunately now we're no longer able to update the different aspects of the link preview. We used to be able to do it.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, Facebook, for some vague ideas of fake news, decided to stop enabling.
It's affected us all.
Exactly. So we're just, at the moment, we're just warning you that this is no longer possible, but it used to be. But in any case, in this part of the app, you can customize the post for each channel. So for instance,
perfect.
I'll just say, oh, you know what? I don't want to see this link preview. So I'll just remove it, and then I will get back my image that I uploaded previously.
Fantastic.
On Twitter, I will just decide that I want to add a hashtag. And so it's updating my Twitter post, but not my Facebook post.
How cool is that?
And then you have it in Instagram, and maybe, on Instagram, you want to do this where you want to add a hashtag and you want to add another one. So you can just do it like that. And as you know, and again, this won't reflect on Twitter and everything. So you can really customize everything for each channel. And so we are also doing what we call the live post analysis, which is giving you some advice to create a post that will perform better.
Yep.
So at the moment, it's based on our database. It's based on best practices, on statistics. But we are working on some very, very cool stuff to improve this and make it more and more, I would say, smarter and smarter as you use it. So that's we are working on it.
Great.
And then you go to the final step. So as I mentioned earlier, we have chunked the process into 5 steps. Set the details, choose your channels, define the content that you will use as the foundation for all channels, fine tune for every channel. And then you create your post. So you have different options from here. You can either save it as a draft, and that is, if you are creating content for someone else, that is useful, because if this other person is a client, you can, saving the post as a draft will hide the post from them, so that you can keep working on it.
For it. Yep.
Exactly, until you are ready to show it to them, until you are actually able to submit it for approval.
Yeah, perfect.
But you can also, if you want, for some reason, you can schedule the post for the time that you have set earlier in the process, or you can even publish it immediately. That's useful either when you're doing a test, or when you are in a crisis or an emergency. You go live as soon as possible.
Respond now.
Exactly. So I'll just start and save it as a draft. And so now Loomly is creating the post for you. And we land on, the post view that we were at earlier. And you will have, as we saw, the post subject and the post label, again, only for internal use. And then you will have the mockup of your post for Facebook and Twitter and Instagram.
Awesome.
With our, specific copy with one hashtag here, and here with the 3 hashtag. You also have the break lines, everything like you have on Instagram. And then, so the next step is, okay, I will just, I will say, okay, I'm ready to go. I'll just move this post out of draft, and I will say, yeah, it's pending approval. So I want it, to get approved, and I will assign it to my collaborator. So Noemi, my that we talked about earlier. And now, so she just received an email, and she also received the push notification, because we have iOS and Android apps.
Yep.
And so you get a notification every time someone is doing something on one of the posts. And then in this notification, both on the email and on the push, there will be a link to this post, so that my collaborator can come here and look at posts, see how it looks like, and tell me, you know what? No, I don't want to approve it as it is. I would like you to actually make some changes. And then she can tell me, hey, or I can tell her in this case, hey, Noemi, can you update the copy of the post?
Perfect.
And then she will also receive a notification for that, again, with a link to the post. when you work with I won't go into too many
No.
details, but you can you can pin some comments to the top if these are more important than the other ones, because otherwise everything will, keep flowing in here. You can also mark them as private. Same thing as a draft post. If you invite someone as a client, they won't be able to see a comment that is marked as private, and you can,
Fantastic.
of course, delete it.
Some great functionality in there.
That's pretty cool. Yeah, we've been trying to, again, most of these has been inspired by our users. So every day I speak with dozens of users who tell me, hey, how can I do that, and how can I do this, or can you add this feature, and we tweak the platform based on that. So it's actually, we're not inventing anything. That the original idea was to fill a need that we had, but ever since we started, now it's everything is told to us by our users. So
great.
They deserve the credit.
Yep.
And last but not least, if you are collaborating with someone and you upload the file, for instance, you upload this image, they can download it. They can just get it, and they will be able to see the image on their computer. For an image, it's not that useful, but if you have multiple images, or if you have a video, that can be useful. There is currently no limitation to the number of posts you can create or the number of files you can upload. So it's pretty unlimited at this point.
Awesome.
And then, so we'll see that if we go back to our calendar views, we'll have this World Pasta Day post in there. It's here. It's ranked automatically. We see that we have the post that is in this state that requires edit. And then Noemi can probably assign it back to me, and I can say, okay, now it's approved. It's just a workflow, so it's very flexible. And that is sending me back to the dashboard, because I mentioned earlier that we would come back there, where here you have an overview of all your posts, where you can see detail of how many posts you have in each state, which helps you know where you are and know which posts require your attention. Because if you have 4 posts that have been approved and they haven't been scheduled yet, you need to work on these. And you can also filter these by collaborator to know exactly who is in charge of what and who needs to work on what. And here we have the comments. So you remember I just left a comment saying, hey, Noemi, can you update the copy of the post? So this is this is like an internal inbox where you can mark your comments as read or unread. You can mark them all as read. And again, you have notifications every time. We also have this very cool feature that is called On the Radar. And it's basically a snapshot of all the posts from all your calendars that require your attention immediately. So it will tell you, you can go back in the past up to 1 week in the past, and you can go into the future up to 1 week into the future. And you will have a list of all the posts that require your attention.
Oh, great.
So if now I'm on Wednesday and we know that it's World Pasta Day, it's been approved, it's green, but it hasn't been scheduled yet. So I have this small red circle saying, hey, Thibaut, you have to look into this post and you have to do something about it. Again, that's a feature that has been suggested to us by some of our users. Then you have the help. Again, very basic, some guides, FAQ, support, and password reset. You can also create some quick posts. That's actually a very interesting feature. You can do it from here, or you can do it from the calendar view. And I'll show you right now how it works.
Fantastic.
You go to the calendar view, and for some reason, you just know you have to publish something at a specific date. For instance, you know that on the 26th, you'll have a product launch, but you don't know yet which image you're going to use. You don't know the copy of your post. You don't know the time. You don't know all the details. All you know is you'll have to publish this day. So you can just say, okay, I'll just create a quick post. You say it's a product launch. It's on the 26th at 3 p.m. and you just do quick ads.
Awesome.
And it will kind of, create a placeholder for you so that you know that you have something going on this day. And then if you want, you just click on it and then here you go. You can, create your post from A to Z.
Right.
Another thing that is interesting is, so once you've published your post, you will be able to get some post analytics.
Awesome.
So this
Love
is
the
very
stats.
basic. Yeah, but this is very, very basic. The reason why it's basic is because it was the very, very first version of the analytics system that we launched. Okay, taking a bit of time. So we are essentially giving you reactions, comments, and shares. We are working on a much more advanced system for November that will give you more than 150 metrics.
Wow.
It will not only be for your post that you have here, it will also be for your account. So, you know, like how many followers do you have on Instagram? Do you have earned any new followers? Do you have lost any new followers?
Great.
It will also give you some information about competition. It will give you more metrics for all your posts. So, you know, reach, impressions, engagement rate, all this stuff. So it's going to be a much more advanced system. And we needed to have this earlier version to learn from our users, know what they wanted, which metrics they wanted to use. And then we compiled everything, all the feedback, and now we know exactly what they want. So this is why it's taking a bit of time.
Great.
And last but not least, I will, okay. If we just very quickly, and I will wrap this up.
That's good. We've got a few minutes. We're okay.
Okay, cool. But if we want to do some Q&A, I'll have some time for that. So when you are in this view, you can also sort your post. So, you know, by date or by subject or copies, if, for instance, you want to find something quicker. And you can also filter them if you only want to know, to see your Facebook post or your Instagram post, or if you want to see only certain dates or everything. You can just, filter it just like you would do on Excel.
Great.
You can invite collaborators from here. And as I mentioned earlier, everything in Loomly is calendar based. So when you invite someone, you invite this person to a calendar, not to the platform as a whole. So if for some reason, you are, I don't know, like a retailer, and you have one person in one shop and another person in another shop, you can invite each person to their own shop and not have everybody, see everything. You can also notify your collaborators, which basically means instead of notifying them each and every single time that you have a post ready, you can use this feature to just say, hey, the whole calendar for the month of November is ready. Check it out. If you, want to reduce, I would say, notification overload.
So I noticed before that you said you could bring in things from RSS feeds. So for someone like runs an online magazine like us, we have our content set to automatically schedule as it goes live. Is that something Loomly can cope with, or do we need to come in and approve it each time?
I'll show you how it works.
That'd be awesome.
It's actually next icon. So this one is export to calendar. If for some reason, you want to take this list view or calendar view or post view, and you want to print it and bring it to a meeting to just, discuss with someone, take notes, you can do it because you can export pretty much everything to PDF. And last thing, so to answer your question, is all the calendar settings. So I won't go here into too many details, but you can change, your time zone to put the Australian time. You can manage the roles of everybody. You can invite other users. You can define different workflows. So this is the original workflow. This is the one we are using, which basically means that even when you have approved the post, it won't be automatically scheduled. You will have to click a button to say schedule it. Unlike this next workflow, which basically says every time you approve a post, it gets scheduled for you. And a very, very, very simple workflow that basically says, we can just skip the whole approval process. We can just, hey, I create a post. It's either a draft or it's scheduled or it's published. That's simple. More efficient. If you are working on your own as an individual, you don't need anybody to approve your post or your content except you.
Oh, that's great.
For this option. You can publish everything with Loomly. As I said, you can connect to all these platforms. You can also decide to publish with Buffer if that's something you want, but it's not mandatory. You can do everything with Loomly. And you can also decide to not publish if that's, if you just want to use Loomly as a content strategy tool. You can
Yep.
do that and publish everything manually. And last but not least, answering your question, this is where you can feed the post IDs to your calendar. The Twitter trends, as I mentioned, so you can select a country.
Yep. Perfect.
We have all the countries. We have Australia, of course, and then in here you can select a city. So we selected Los Angeles because this is where we are based, and then you can just save, and it will feed you the Twitter trends for this place into your calendar.
Awesome.
You don't have to select a city. You can just select a country or even like an area if you want.
Overview.
And then, so for the RSS feed, we actually offer two options. So if you are, as you say, an online publication, you can either, input your RSS feed here.
Yep.
And use what we call the assistive option.
Yep.
And this will basically create for you a draft post in Loomly for every new entry in your RSS feed.
Yep.
And from here, you will have the link to the post and the title of the post already embedded into your post in Loomly, which will make it like super easy to just, approve it and schedule it. Or you can, if you want to have a more, I would say, a smoother approach, you can import all your posts as post ideas. So that Loomly will say, hey, you have a post coming up. That's an idea for a Facebook post. You should probably share it. So it just depends on how you want to use it.
Yeah, no, we'd be definitely the draft post component.
I can see that.
Too many articles going live to worry the other way around.
Exactly. And, you never know if you miss one or something like that. So that's pretty much it. That's, I think, a fair overview of the platform.
It's been amazing to see Loomly in its new light and different options for being able to get out there, guys. Look, as we know, we bring in with skills webinars on an ongoing basis. Has anyone got any questions today? Okay, we've got a question from Riley. Do uploads get posted directly to the platforms?
Yeah, so everything gets published to the platform for Facebook, Twitter, Pinterest, Google+, and LinkedIn. For Instagram, unfortunately, this is not allowed by their API, and this is not allowed by their terms of services. So we decided not to, I would say, work around these limitations.
No.
We explain this in detail. Linda, I can share a link, right?
Look, and by all means, share the link in the chat, guys. And it's not worth trying to work around the Instagram process because by breaking the terms and conditions, you risk losing your account. You put a lot of work into it. Don't use it. Don't lose it.
Exactly. I couldn't agree more. Unfortunately, where can I share?
If you just go to the little chat icon down the bottom.
Chat. Okay. So this is where we explain in details why we are not doing it, what the limitations are, and why we also kind of recommend against using tools that do it. Yep. To be very honest, from a technical standpoint, that is very doable. If we decided to go with it, we could go with it. You basically have two ways of doing it. I can't even tell you how to do it.
No, we're not going down that path. It's
interesting. There are apps that will ask you for your password.
Yep.
And then they will post to your accounts on your behalf. That is very risky because even if these are trustworthy platforms, you never know if they get hacked, they have your password in there. And so it basically means that the hacker can get your passwords.
And it's a lot of risk, guys. We talk about best practices, and that means following the platforms that we use as guidelines and terms and conditions, because you as business owners want that respect, and you should therefore respect the platforms you're using.
That's very correct. And so that's one way of doing it. The other way of doing it is called doing what we do, what we call reverse engineering. And it's basically reverse engineering the Instagram API to understand what we call the endpoints and find these endpoints and then send your post through these endpoints that are not open to the public and are not open officially. So that's a very very risky thing to do, just like Linda was saying, because if you get caught, there is nothing preventing
You're not coming back from that.
exactly from saying, hey, you guys are not respecting our terms of services. We are just, you know, pulling your account, and then they just cancel your account, delete all your content, and you lose all your followers and all the hard work that you've put into building your audience. So we just think as a platform, this is not something we want to do. So this is why we don't do it. And so instead of that, what happens is when it's time to publish a post to Instagram, we'll send you either a push notification to your mobile, and then you can just open the post with the Instagram app. It's like super quick and automatically paste in the copy of your post. So
it's so like, easy, guys. It's beyond easy.
And it's also, you know, what all the big guys in the field are doing. And I'm not afraid even to, you know, mention our competitors like Hootsuite and Buffer, because everybody knows them. They are big guys. They've done their research, they've done their homework, and they know. And this is the way they're doing it. So as a new entrant in the field, we don't want, you know, to just take risk and put our users at risk just for something like that. So. And you can also receive your Instagram reminder over email if that's something you are more comfortable with. So all that is said, we support automated publishing to all platforms except Instagram. That was a very long answer.
It is. But guys, look, it's one of those things that pops up. I would like to thank Thibaut for joining us today and being able to share the tips and knowledge. There is a bonus offer, guys, for everyone to get a 15-day trial with Loomly. I will pop the link in the replay videos. For some reason, I can't get out of my screen here while we're in screen share mode to be able to do it. Oh, beautiful.
I just shared it for you.
Thibaut got it for you. Go jump in, get the 15-day trial. Go in and have a play with the tools, because it's all about learning which tool actually works for you and your business in the best way moving forward. This comes down to being able the opportunity for you to find which tools work for you. If you've got any questions, let us know. We will both be in the group later on today, and the replay should be, fingers crossed, all up on YouTube inside the next couple of hours, as long as the regional internet where we are plays nicely with us today. Thank you for joining us. We have one more skills webinar booked so far for the rest of the year before I head on break. Clyde might be doing a couple with you while I'm away. But otherwise, we've been joined from Joe Saunders on LinkedIn next week and looking at our LinkedIn profiles and how we can make the most of them as business owners. So thank you for joining me. I appreciate your time. Thibaut, thank you for taking some time out and spending your evening with us. And we look forward to seeing you. If you've got any questions, pop them up in the group, guys. We'll come and answer them and help you out from there. Bye.